try to make something that we could finish in a short amount of time so that we can open the door for our young people to be out there with their families and dancing and enjoying the weekend. But beyond that, we're going to be doing, after the Founders Day powwow, we're going to follow up with that, and we're going to make moccasins and headbands. We want to teach lazy stitch style of beading. That way, the kids will have, the boys will have a headband, side drops, moccasins. The girls can have a headband or a choker and a bib. And after that, we're going to do more workshops and showing them how to just use fabric and have the money or the materials to make regalia. So sewing it helps to get them out there quicker and to have more on them. As a dancer, when I go to a powwow and I see little ones enjoying themselves but dancing with just their socks, I really feel bad for them because I want them to have moccasins. So that's one of my goals, is that all these young people that the regalia is being made for, they're going to have moccasins. So the top and the bottom will be dressed with the traditional lazy stitch style of beading. And so we kind of look at, what traditional materials we have to how we can contemporize it, things that are inexpensive. It's a whole process when you learn how to make something. I always say it's a medicine. It takes care of you in so many ways, and it helps you to focus and really come in balance with yourself. You can't sew or bead or do things like that if you're mad and angry. But when you're doing something in front of you, you might get the technique down, so pretty soon your mind wanders. And maybe you imagine something else, your creativity comes alive. Maybe whatever you're making in front of you, you see something like the next thing you want to make. We all have that creativity. And in my own life experience of beading, I've been beading for about 40 years, about 45 years. But it's been a process, it's been a journey. And I know we have a lot of people here among the Sichangu Oyate that are gifted with so many gifts. Not one person knows everything. And when we say art, then to me, I think in a non-native way, and I say it in a good way, you imagine something hanging on the wall that looks beautiful. But for indigenous functional, we can use them, but we make them our own. We decorate them. We maybe put a story into it. We're learning about it as we go. And sometimes I think that we're stuck in a surface culture, the understanding. We do it, but we don't know why we do it. Or we do it, but we don't know the story behind it. Or we do it, but we don't do enough where we've actually practiced it enough to really understand, take it inward, and really develop a deep culture about what we do. I look at beading and sewing as not just a way to take care of yourself, but you take care of your family. And so for the mothers and the grandmothers that came to the workshop, I really am proud of them because they had courage to learn something new. And when you're working together in the same environment, a creative environment, we're not competing. We're supporting one another. I can give everybody the same grass dance pattern or the same jingle dress pattern, but they're never going to be two of one because everyone is unique and different, just like our children, just like each and every one of you. And each and every one of you have a gift. Maybe some of you are good writers. Maybe some of you have a lot of that oral history that you're able to share that to someone. Maybe some of you are storytellers. Some of you are singers, dancers. Some of you make star quilts. Some of you do feather work. Some of you work with the horsehair. You do all different types of things, but you bring that all together. And if we could do that, I think as a people, we just really strengthen our reservation here. We strengthen our people because it's sharing a medicine that's going to take care of them, that they can use to take care of themselves and their family. And we have to be able to share and do so in a good way, because we know that some they have gifts to offer, but maybe they don't want to share it. But there will always be a need and a want in the way we live. So we'll never run out of people needing that information to know. And those of us that are making things, like I always say, this isn't mine. I had role models in my life that taught me how to make things, but at the same time, what they taught me with my eyes and through observation, they taught me how to live with it, out of respect. When something takes care of you, you take care of it. You respect it, and you respect yourself doing it, and you respect those you're maybe doing it for. So there's a whole teaching that I think one person, if they stay on that journey of, if they have a certain way of life that they want to learn, whether it be a singer, whether it be a dancer, whether it be how to make beautiful star quilts or this or that, they're going to take it to that deep culture, and they're going to be able to share stories of how that's meaningful to them. When you're doing things, I always say that the hands, as Native people, I always say I'm not a reader, writer kind of person, learner. I'm a listener, and I'm a doer. And that's how we learn, and that's how these workshops are, because, probably half of the relatives that came, they've either never sewed or very little. So we're actually paralleling, two types of learning, how to sew, how to cut patterns, how to make designs, how to put it all together. So it's a lot of work, but it's good work. And if you can open the door for a family to learn how to make something, and that relative that comes brings their other relatives, and they learn together, then the hope is that they keep it in their home, that they're able to provide those for their families. So I know we say Lakota arts, but art is just, to me, like I said, the way I've seen it modeled is a way of life. So my brother-in-law, Ben, I don't know where he went, but like his mom and dad, they're also my role models. In Lakota way, I can't say my in-laws' name, my mother and father-in-law, and my auntie, but learning, you actually have to look back and think, wow, I guess I did learn something. And then you really, it even opens a door even bigger than that. I think our child care, our preschool, our Head Start, our adult basic education, that's also a place that we can learn the life skills. But the jail, the JDC, I've been out there to teach the women, the young women, how to sew and bead and do those things. It's a medicine. I think all of our treatment centers, our aftercare programs would, if we could teach our relatives something that'll help them to stay well balanced in their life. They always have something. So I know that there's a lot of relatives that have those gifts. And when we do these workshops, I'm just asking that, almost like if you don't know how to say it or who to ask, nobody will say anything. But it's kind of like that, build it and they will come. Provide it, and then they can come. But if it's provided, I'm asking people, and the listeners out there too, to meet that help halfway. If it's a 3-day workshop, don't come on the 3rd day and expect it to be done. Somebody put aside their time to help. So honor that person's time and respect them, and come on that first day on time, and be there the time that it's given to you to learn. And that way you'll have it done. So you really have to meet it halfway, go in it wholeheartedly, because this weekend we've asked the families that have made regalia to bring their children, and Friday night we want to have an honor song, a song of encouragement for the families to continue to do these things so the children can benefit and the families can benefit and come to powwow and enjoy and seeing their work out there. Traditionally, I know that in families, if somebody wants to dance, it's just not one person in the family providing everything. The whole family comes together and they support, and they're all there to watch that child dance. So you're really strengthening families, when you do these things. So I just want to thank Jim for asking me to do those workshops, because it's been a while since I did one, and I really enjoy it. And I see the excitement in the eyes of the families when they're envisioning their son or their daughter, their grandson, being able to be out there. But that picture up there, to have a 4-generation family excited about that little one dancing, I think that speaks volumes. And so I just wanted to say that much. I was worried about coming up, and then, now I'm just getting carried away. But I want to thank you guys all for coming today, and I'm really glad to see education, because I think that, it's more than just something that you make and walk away. There's a lot of teaching that can continue on with doing these things. And it really helps, especially today in our schools. It helps our young people also be able to process and to open up. I always say, when the hands are busy, whatever walls that we put in front of us, they come down. And we start to trust that environment. We trust one another, and we're able to share and process. And so that's why I said I think it's a good thing too for the aftercare programs. And that's just being a human being and relating heart to heart. Because we do things, but we don't talk about it as we're doing it. We might have an elder maybe sharing stories. So when the hands are busy, the mind is wide open. And that's when you're just, it's okay. We need to have that experience. We can't just say, go do that. And we haven't done that. So if you experience something, you know what people are going to get out of it if they do that. And so I just wanted to say that, and that it's really good to come to those workshops. I think we're talking about maybe going out to the communities, maybe doing a community one. It would be nice to go to school, or even going to the like Head Start, just kind of supporting each other with what we have, and just doing something and having fun doing it, and keep doing it. Almost like a train the trainer type thing too we could do. Bring people together. And then you can develop curriculum around that. You bring in the storytelling. You can bring in the language. You can bring the history. You can talk about the design elements. You can have people tell their own story through the work that they're making. So it's really, I think, a powerful way for people to stay well balanced in their life. And I know song and dance is later, but I just wanted to acknowledge brother-in-law. He's sitting down now. But, his dad once said that the highest form of enjoyment is dance. And this is one way that you can prepare for that too, with making your own regalia. And he was also one of my first, when I first started dancing, I remember we went to Augustana College first time. We had to do a show with Solaris Lakota. He came over and tapped me on the shoulder. White people, they don't know. Just dance. He knew I was nervous. I was standing there. I had to dance Fancy Shawl, and there was a little part I danced solo. I got through it. He was on the other side. I came off stage. Wash day, wash day. So just simple, but really good encouragement was like, don't worry about making a mistake. They're not going to know. And just enjoy yourself. And then he came back to tell me that I did a good job. And ever since then, I've been, beading and sewing for my family so they could be out there dancing. And if I had not learned these skills, I would not have been able to have them out there. So I just want to say that, and just thank you all for listening to me, and listen up for workshops if we're having them, and just do it. Don't woulda, shoulda, coulda. If there's an opportunity, take it, because you're going to enjoy yourself, whatever that is. And if you keep doing it, you're going to really benefit. And you'll understand what I'm talking about, that medicine, taking care of yourself. So with that, I just want to say thank you, and then I think brother-in-law's on. So thank you.
Thank you, Denise. She is a great asset to Wocekiye University. And she can talk for the rest of the afternoon. She's a great sister-in-law and very talented person, art person. So I'm going to begin by reading you a story. The story is entirely in Lakota. And it was told in 1969. That's 51 years ago. It was told by Ben Black Bear Sr. So I'm going to read this to you. Ikto ena iyawan. Ikto obla chokanagaya yahake. Hel oskok pawanyakake. Yukho heta iyawan heta hinapkhake. Ho hetaku iya ewichakiapcha hechacha hinapkhake. Lila wichashawan thankacha lila wokhokpekake. Ho iktoki le chik alake. Wichasha ichare ash chik alake. Hihani echiataha hihani khchacha ho kchi ata kchiake. Le iagle echa heake. Hihani wawatink tek onchik alayelo eake. Yunkho ikto inch heake. Hihani wawatink ta yunkho akshachik alayelo eake. Le iagle take a chanshna iktoki le ya chek yeake. Ash inch ho mish ya kabi chikte. Chanshna ka chanshna ka hechonshne ash ya chekte ie kunsake. Iet khanka ash. Ho hewana hechons ataake. Yunkho energy trochie leon kingna kinkte. Chiu tinktek on he wegna kinkte. Maya tinktek on he on kingna kinkte. Lenachji le Lakota wichoti elo eake. Yuchaglishkaya wichoti cha hel uyinaha ho hena iwawi trianki naha yoki se wichate hatash mish yoki se wichatinkte. Ho hechet oha. Ash chietaku wa ichionrikte. Taku huo. Taku tona le ya unki le un nit ahuo. Ho taku tona umat elo. Chlachlaki le naha shiot hakaki. Le naha wagamuhaki he. Naha chancheraki he. Na akish api ki he. Henakcha umat elo. Han chie mish hechechti umat elo. Henakcha umat ayunkho wi uncho echanke yechecha elo. Nish Oha. Ho hiwo hechia uyinkte. Echetke akchia hanke. Pahalia khpacha ikiela ihunipi naha ekta eokas impiunkho yuchanglishkaya wichotike Lakotaki. Ho hiankayo lena amampheyo lena yankayo le ektamani naha tanya wichablawa naha okiuk sea wichablawa naha ho kana wichayati naha mish lena wichawatinkte. Trokea wichablawakte. Oha. Oanjila yaishni lena yankayo. Ena yankake. Cha ikto kutakia yahanke. Ekta ina le Lakota wa hena oichakiaki na heake. Holel iya wankchiwa uktelo. Hocha iaki he chlachla naha wagamuha. Naha shiot chanka. Naha chanchera. Na akish api ki lena unt eyelo. Lena zapta. Hocha le wichoti ki lel okogana kchiwa hiu naha. Lel choka uhiu piki. Lena wea yankabna. Lena iuha. Kachlapi naha akish api. Na khmuya hoa po tinktelo. Ki naha unktepiktelo eake. Oha. Ata igloea picha echiata iangyan kuke. Hoana wichablawa elo. Hoyekiyapi nie Wicawotapi na mie lechiataha lehena Wicawotinkte. Oha. Wana Ikiciyuskinpi. Ash lila tchankake na le iechik alake. Hoana ata Ikiciyina hechna wana el ihuni pike. Le wichoti ohel okogana Eyapi na kitala ioptea Eyapi wa heha wana ata Ikiciyuskinpi na chlachla hena ka chlabnaha chanchega hena ka bubnaha wagamuha wa hena ka chlapike. Hona hichagea shiotchaka wa hena yashlopke. Ata yugaga ka chekchek iakina cha ikto echonke. Echel chash glichpaya na ata yina glichpaya ke. Cha gal ikto taglichpaya ke. Hoana kat eoheha ka inajinaha ho hechataha kuna ho hechetu welo eake. Lele oyate ki lel egna hiuki tebeniapi ktacha wakteelo ho cha mie e cheab iblamenictelo eake. Hoa hehaya. That story was told by Ben Blackbear Sr., my dad, in 1969. It's a Ikto story. I recorded several of them and I transcribed them. Back in 1980, right after 1980, we had a big discussion about orthography, how we were going to write Lakota. And we kept meeting in Standing Rock and Pine Ridge and Rapid City and all over the place. And we all brought our own methods of writing. So it came down to two methods of writing. Lakshi Albert, God rest his soul, had his method of writing. And the other one that we presented was the University of Colorado writing system. So those were the two we were talking about. So I took this story that my dad told and I wrote it in both writing systems. The one I just read you was Albert's writing system. And I also produced the same thing using the University of Colorado writing system. So I have both copies. So we compared them. And then we had a vote. We had mostly elders. My parents were there, mom and dad. There was a bunch of elders from Standing Rock, Pine Ridge, different places that came. And we all talked about it, and we talked about it in Lakota, and we went back and forth, and then we voted on it. All right, which writing system? Number one or number two? We had examples of it. We read stories and things like that. So everybody voted on it, and they voted on Albert's writing system. They said, all right, this is going to be it. But everybody balked, We still wanted to use our own writing system. We didn't want to, conform to one system. So we said, all right, just keep using your stuff as long as you produce the one that's going to make a difference. The writing system that is going to be, is the one that's going to make the difference is the writing system that is used to produce a lot of material. That's going to carry the day. In other words, it's not up to us. It was not up to us, that group that was meeting over there voting on writing systems, orthographies. It was up to the community. Whatever the community accepted, whatever the community supported, that's what it's going to be. It's not up to any particular group or any particular person. So I just wanted to I have a copy of this. I can make some copies. And I guess, again, I wrote it in both Albert's writing system and the University of Colorado writing system. 50 years. What did we do in 50 years? In 1969, they hired me to teach at St. Francis Mission, Catholic boarding school. The year before, 1968, they had a Jesuit scholastic who they asked to teach Lakota language. He majored in anthropology, I think, probably linguistics, I'm not sure. So he taught for 1 year, and he developed some materials in Lakota. He used the Lakota speakers who were working there at the time. The St. Francis Education Center, there was a bunch of Lakota speakers that were working there. Victor Duville was working there. I was working there. My uncle Lloyd One Star, Denise's father-in-law, he was working there. And there were several other people, quite a few that were working there. So we supported this effort. So he used us as resource, and he developed a bunch of materials to teach Lakota. There was literally nothing to use. There were no textbooks. There was no teaching method. There was nothing, basically. When we started teaching Lakota 50 years ago, there was nothing that existed at all. In fact, Lakota wasn't even recognized as a legitimate academic course in school. And many of you are, I think you're all probably too young. If you lived before that, you will know that the culture and the tradition was dying up to that point. Nobody wanted to speak Lakota. Nobody wanted to speak Lakota. They wanted to forget, and they were switching to English. So it was like Lakota was on the way out. In fact, anything Indian was a negative thing. You look down on Indians. So it was a very, very negative thing in 1968, 1969, when we first thought about teaching Lakota. Nobody wanted to learn Lakota. I mean, why do we want to teach Lakota? Why do we want to learn Lakota? It doesn't make any sense, Everybody's switching to English, so why do we have to, all the standard arguments. So it was a negative thing at that time. Anybody who spoke Lakota was made fun of by everybody, even the Indians, even the Lakota. I know because I grew up there. And I kept speaking Lakota. And I was persecuted for speaking Lakota. Today, my kids don't speak Lakota because I didn't want them to go through that. The fathers didn't spank me for speaking Lakota. The nuns didn't punish me for speaking Lakota. It was the kids around me who put me down for speaking Lakota, for being Lakota. So it was a very negative thing in 1969 and before that. So nobody wanted to learn Lakota. So you can imagine, how much of an effort we knew it was going to take to turn that whole, it was a big social, cultural thing at the time. Anything Indian was negative, not good. So the whole effort of teaching Lakota 50 years ago was, first of all, to change that whole attitude, completely turn it around. You can imagine how terrible that was. Many of you are, again, you're young people, so you don't know that, but that's where a lot of us, old people, that's where we grew up. So there was nothing. There was no textbooks, nothing about Lakota language. Whatever Lakota language and materials that were available were done by missionaries. Thanks to Father Eugene Beagle, we had a dictionary, we had a grammar book, we had a Bible history book that was done entirely in Lakota. You know, but that was missionary work. They wanted to Christianize us, so they used Lakota. And that was the reason why they did that. It wasn't to bring the language back or none of that stuff, or keep it alive. So that's 50 years ago, that was the beginning. There was nothing. No textbooks, no tapes, no nothing. And nobody spoke Lakota. And they laughed at us for speaking Lakota. Very negative thing, and we had to turn that around. Took 50 years. 50 years to change society completely around. That's how it is. We don't make the world, the community does. Whatever the community wants, that's what's going to happen. Not me. I can try to change it, but when I was going to school at St. Francis Mission, Catholic boarding school, I went there for 12 years. And that's why I make that statement. I keep going through that experience, 12-year experience. From the time I was 6 years old till I was 18 years old when I graduated high school. I went through that whole experience, back and forth, up and down, you know, trying to see if I was ever spanked for speaking Lakota. And I never was. Never was. In fact, I deliberately spoke Lakota in high school, all the way through high school till I graduated. My mom taught me how to read and write Lakota. She knew and she taught me. So we had to literally change society in order to be able to start teaching Lakota and culture and history and all that stuff. It was a struggle. Every little thing we tried to do, we encountered negative forces to stop us. My first experience at teaching Lakota, in 1969, they hired me to teach Lakota language at St. Francis Mission Catholic Boarding School, and they wanted me to teach first grade to 12th grade, all 12 grades, every single day. I did not have any training in teaching, much less teaching Lakota. I had no textbooks, no material, no training to develop or research material, nothing. It was almost as if it was, right from the start, it was created for failure. Created for failure. It's not going to work. See, we're going to prove it. And they did. We didn't succeed. But that didn't stop me. From that point on, I said, all right, my goal in life is to make Lakota language learning legitimate, acceptable. I'm going to spend all my life teaching Lakota, teaching people to teach Lakota, teaching literacy in Lakota. Every Lakota who speaks Lakota should be able to read and write Lakota. Every single Lakota speaker should know how to read and write Lakota. They should be able to read this at the same speed that you can read in English. We need that training. And before we Lakota speakers walk in a classroom to teach Lakota, we need to learn how to teach. We need training in teaching, and especially teaching Lakota. That's our goal. I have accomplished one of those goals. I had to go off the reservation to get this accomplished. I worked with white people who had expertise in linguistics, who knew how to speak Lakota, and who were willing to teach teachers how to teach. I lent them my expertise and worked with them. We produced textbooks to teach Lakota. They exist right now. We produced a dictionary, a usable dictionary. Somebody can use it to learn Lakota using that dictionary. And recorded. It's online. If you have a smartphone, you can download that dictionary on your smartphone and use it. If you know how to conjugate verbs, you can say anything you want in Lakota using that dictionary. We developed textbooks, grammar books, dictionary. We produced a cartoon, the Berenstain Bears in Lakota. There's a teacher's guide that goes with it. And we have some apps. We have a vocab builder that you can download on your iPhone, and you can learn Lakota words. So we have accomplished one of those things we didn't have at the beginning 50 years ago. We now have the textbooks. They're available on the internet, online. We have the dictionaries, the textbooks, the grammar books. We just published a grammar book, which I co-authored with Jan Ulrich, which incidentally I just recorded from cover to cover. We haven't put that one out yet, but it is coming out. There's a lot of things you can learn about by just learning Lakota, the language, you know. There are unique things about Lakota that we don't know about. Even us who speak Lakota, we don't know about them. There are interesting things you can learn by learning the language. Did you know that Lakota is the only language in the world that has two datives? Two datives. Now, what's a dative? Well, it's a grammatical term. If you took Latin, you'll know what a dative is in grammar. Dative is anything that has for or to or any of those little words that we use in English. I will pick this up for you. Ikiciyuskinpi. That's a dative case. Lakota is an inflected language. So you can say a whole bunch of things in a very short word. How many speakers know that? The example I give is buying something. I'm going to buy a cup of coffee for you. But I take my money out and I give it to you to buy that cup of coffee for you. So you go and buy it yourself. That's the first dative. I'm buying coffee for you. On the other hand, if I took my money out to buy coffee for you, and instead of you going and buying it using my money, I go and actually go to the store and buy the coffee for you. I bought the coffee for you by using my money, but I went and bought it for you, so I bought it on your behalf. That's the second dative. Lakota has two datives. And I can say that whole thing in one word. I bought it for you on your behalf. auprès de TGKP. How many Lakota speakers know that? How many Lakota language teachers know that stuff? If you're going to go in the classroom to teach Lakota, you need to know those things. To be trained in it. Not that you're going to teach those key things to the kids. You're going to teach the kids how to speak Lakota. You don't want to teach them grammar. You just want to teach them to speak Lakota. But you as a teacher need to learn that stuff. Know the structure of Lakota, the grammar, to be a good teacher. So these are some of the things that we're doing right now, carrying out. I don't want to take all your time, but this summer, June, the first 2 weeks in June, we're going to have a summer institute at Kyle, Oglala Lakota College. And we invite anybody who wants to come and learn to teach Lakota or whatever, or even to just learn Lakota. And we also have another summer institute in Grand Forks, North Dakota in July. Last week in June and first week in July. Same thing. Lakota language teachers should go to those, learn how to teach, learn the grammar, learn the lessons, how to use the lessons, things like that. So we have all that stuff available right now. Took us 50 years to get here. At St. Eglishka, we're using a new method of teaching languages. The silent way of teaching. My boss, Jim, is sold on that, so I have to use that to teach Lakota. But it's a good method. It's a proven method. It's a method that requires the students to speak Lakota right from the start. Right from the start. That's the way to teach Lakota. Anyway, that's a good method. The silent way is because the teacher doesn't stand up there and talk to the students for a whole hour. The sooner the teacher steps away from being a teacher, the more the students get to learn. So all you're doing is directing the students' learning process to speak Lakota. It's a good method. You can, I suppose you can come in and watch if you're interested, but. So, that's what we're doing right now. Immersion, we keep talking about immersion. Yes, immersion is a good way to teach Lakota or whatever language you teach. And we're not saying it's impossible. The only thing we're saying, and I'm learning about it as well, is when you teach Lakota or any language in an immersion, through an immersion process, you as a teacher, in order to go in the classroom and immerse the students in the language completely, you as a teacher have to plan, prepare to do that. That's the tough part. Getting ready to walk in that classroom and immersing the students in the language, planning for that is the tough part. It's very difficult to do. It's more difficult than just teaching a regular classroom where you just plan for the class, 1 hour class or half an hour class, whatever it takes. You plan for that class. It takes you some time to plan for that class, and then you walk in, and then you're all ready to teach the kids the language. While immersion, you have to do a little bit more work than just a regular classroom teaching. So that's the difference. So that's the difference. That's what I wanted to point out. Yes, you can do immersion. You can do it effectively. But if you're an immersion teacher, it just means you have to do lots and lots of planning and getting ready. One thing I learned as a Lakota speaker, a native Lakota speaker, is, and many of you speakers know this, When we're in the classroom teaching young kids how to speak Lakota, we're teaching them simple Lakota. And that means you have to say a lot of simple things, but a whole bunch. As native Lakota speakers, one of the things we learned is we don't speak simple language meaninglessly for a long time. Lakota iwa shichu ewichaka. Tu awul dila woglaka. Woglaka iana shincha chanchna. Hey iwa shichu elo mkea. That's because we as Lakota speakers don't do that. Iwa shichu pshne. So you have to understand that when you're teaching little kids, because when you're teaching little kids, you have to speak constantly, even if it's very, very simple Lakota. And we don't know how to do that. That's why we have to plan to do that as Lakota speakers. You think that as Lakota speakers we can do that just like that. No, we can't. We cannot do that. It takes a lot of planning, sitting ahead of time, and and practicing all these little things. We don't talk like that. But that's what we have to do in order to teach Lakota to little kids. That's why we have to do a lot of planning. We have to get ready ahead of time before we even go in that classroom. We have to plan because our language is not built to be talked constantly. See, if you speak English, you can talk forever, without really saying anything. We don't do that in Lakota, so we have to learn how to do that if we're going to be a teacher. So these are just, things that are important things that we kind of are dealing with right now. So I just wanted to share that with, people. If you want to be a teacher, you got to learn how to be a teacher, learn how to teach kids. If you want to be a teacher of Lakota, you have to learn the Lakota language. And not only that, you got to learn how to plan to take material into the classroom so you can be an effective teacher. Pilamayap, thank you.
Mastelo. Yeah, there's two talks that I wish I could go back and hear word for word. When I first got on the tribal council back in the mid-70s, we heard two speakers. One, Ben just talked about his dad, and the other one was Ike Bearshiel. They both spoke to us. And man, those guys, somewhere I would think I don't know if they recorded those back then, or I presume they did, but I've never been able to come up with them. But they told us some awesome things, speaking Lakota, and humorous, philosophical, you name it, but they'd be well worth having those today and having people listen to them in general, just to know something about life, really. Ben Pilamayapalo. Anybody else regarding culture or connecting with education? Gail? Okay.
I thank all of my elders for letting us get up here and speak today in front of you. I work for the Rosewood Sioux Tribe Child Care Services Program, Lakota Language Preservation Project, and we've been incorporating language and culture for quite some time. The Lakota Language Preservation Project came to us in 2014, but prior to that, we were incorporating culture. And I really credit that to the bias of the employees. You know, we knew our identity, we knew who we were, therefore there was just a natural flow to incorporate cultural activities into our daily programming. So we kind of started there, and in 2014, when the Lakota Language Preservation Project came to us, the first thing I worked on was assessment. And so I have Sunrise and Abeline who work with us who are bringing around this assessment. And so what we found keep in mind 2014, there was 515 fluent speakers that we found. So I read off the communities. Upper Cutmeat, 22, Two Strike, 19, 12 for Swift Bear. St. Francis came in the highest with 96. Spring Creek with 78. Parmalee with 86. Soldier Creek, 14. Rosebud, 29. Ring Thunder, 23. Oak Creek, 4. Milks Camp, 3. Ideal, 17. Horse Creek, 22. He Dog had 18. Grass Mountain, 16. 10 in Corn Creek. Butte Creek had 3. Bull Creek had 2. Black Pipe had 15. And Antelope came in with 21. And so one year I kept track of how many of our fluent speakers passed away. In 1 year, there were 9. So we're talking 5 years now. You can imagine how that number came down. And our grant office, when we were working on a grant to teach language, the number they gave us for the amount of tribal members is 28,686 enrolled tribal members. So just so you know, out of that 28,686, we came up with a number of 515 fluent speakers. I've had several people from these communities going through the list because we have the names of the people, and we X'd out if we knew that they weren't totally fluent. The other study that we want to complete is how many are out there who understand the language, and you know, assess them and see what kind of a list we have, because I really believe that really hard to write programming if you don't know what you're working with out there in the communities, and Lakota Language Preservation Project is for the tribal communities. It's a program that the tribe funds at like $100,000 a year. So there's not too much money in there to actually teach classes in all of our communities. But what this map kind of shows is the East Reservation is what is fading out with the language. And I think Oak Creek we had 4, but now we only have 1. And some of the other communities, Milks Camp, Butte Creek, and Bull Creek, those numbers have dropped drastically. I think Milks Camp might really be totally silent. So I think we're already considered silent by language studies anyway, but I thought that was pretty important to bring out to you. And we did another study prior to the language coming to the child care office. It was a survey. There was 4,090 surveys completed. And so I just highlighted a few questions to talk about here. One of them is, would you like more access to learning the RST Lakota language? Out of that 4,090, 91% said yes. 3% said no, 6% said some. If you do not speak or understand the Lakota language, will you be willing to learn? Out of the 4,090, 81% said yes, 9% said no, 10% said some. Is the Lakota language worth preserving? Out of the 4,090, 97% said yes, 1% said no, 2% said some. So that kind of gave us an idea that people are very interested in learning the language. And also in my visits to the East Reservation, and I've gone to some of the homes because we have maps where these speakers live, and a lot of those homes out there, in visiting the people, they're like starved for the language and culture. So I thought that was really good. Our song and dance project really took off in the Milks Camp, Bull Creek. So the community of Gregory, we had a high involvement of our people coming to the park in Gregory to learn song and dance. We've had quite a bit of families in Corn Creek come, and so it seemed like where there wasn't as much was where our fluent speakers were. So whatever that kind of told us, you know. And that could be just they weren't really interested in song and dance. But I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that we did at the Child Care Code Language Office. Was we created an infant toddler project, and this, a lot of our work goes to decolonizing the youngest members of our tribe, our infants and toddlers, beginning with our pregnant women and with our partners, Lakota Tiwahe, Maternal Child Health, the IHS Baby Group, which is Project Launch, a project from the Great Plains Tribal Chairman's Health Board, and the Rosebud Sioux Tribe. So we worked with them on a grant, and they kept our information to give to pregnant women. And so some of our goals was one of the questions here. And our goal is for our children to be immersed in the language and have a deep connections with their identity, to be able to interpret the world around them through a Lakota cultural lens. This contributes to school readiness, improvement quality of life. Families and mothers will learn how to welcome a child and complete traditional ceremonial customs for their infants. Our children and families will have knowledge of our ways of knowing, our epistemology, and our ways of being, ontology. And the tribe will have resources for the Lakota Language Preservation Project for sustainability. We also have taught cultural classes and researched old photos for designs, stories, legends about these types. For head coverings for infants and toddlers, cradle boards, moccasins, amulets, swaddling a baby, and other customary items for infants and toddlers. We have interviewed a group of Lakota women to educate young mothers on Lakota belief system as it relates to child rearing. We have continued goals on interviewing Lakota elders knowledgeable about the culture, surveying pregnant women and parents, research what is available to use as a resource within the tribe, language courses for these families to use in the homes, and lullabies. So I've got Abeline tasked to research our lullabies. We also provide early childhood training on brain development as it relates to language learning, toxic stress in our homes. That's something big that we're dealing with trying to revitalize and preserve the language. Coping and competence to help parents with self-regulation and incorporate teachings of our Lakota value system. And adverse childhood experiences, and creating a trauma-informed space for our Lakota language classes. We thought that was pretty important because when you get up and start talking about the language, it triggers a lot of memories about people's grandparents or their parents who may not even be here with us today. So we thought that that was pretty important to deal with. and also taking into account the environment where, you know, they say with an infant with a room full of wall hangings and whatnot, you would overstimulate. So that's the same kind of areas we want for our language learning classes, so we don't overstimulate our people. So another project that we've done is we're working on an outdoor classroom. And I had the pleasure to work with Leonard Krodag, and he guided our cultural committee on this outdoor classroom. And so I was really happy to work with him and Dwayne and Sam, Dwayne Hollhornbear and Sam Highcrane, who come pretty regularly to the meetings and are helping us with this project. We took it up a level to pray about this project, and we held a ceremony on December 21st in the Black Hills. So we went up to Peshla and we held a ceremony to ask Tunkashila if we can do a recreation of the Black Hills in our outdoor playground. And so we have that spiritual guidance, and I thought that was really, really important, because every time I need answers, I could just run to a prayer. So I just wanted to put that out there, that we did get that permission. And these two ladies will show you a map of just the beginning of what the playground will look like. So it's we used a lot of Victor DeVille's Lakota Star Knowledge, and that's how we created this map with our sites. So we're working to always include and improve every site. So one that's completed is the Wind Cave. So with the Wind Cave site, we will have like a mound, and there's a picture of a little mound where the kids can, on the outside, they can run up and down a hill, a grassy hill. And the other thing we're working on is a tunnel. So we want to build a tunnel so that they understand and learn the creation story and know that they came from the earth, and going through all the phases there. We're working at putting that in our underground tunnel so the kids can have that entrance into the playground through that tunnel. Just some tricky things with ADA codes and stuff like that. I know Vonda and Cheryl, you know, you guys will all know some of those struggles. We can't have stagnant water, and so it does get a little tricky in dealing with state regulations, but that was something that we talked about at the cultural committee. And one thing that we're working on is, by practicing our sovereignty, we are not going to seek state licensing. So we're working on the structure of the building, using all building codes to go over, above, and beyond, so that we can reassure our families that their children are safe. And that, you know, is the whole purpose of the health and safety codes and everything else. So in this project with teaching children their identity and learning their identity, I should say, we are working on a project to work with the, I'll just read these off, Hoyekiyapi, pregnancy. So in there we have classes on, you know, with our parents to bring about prayers during each trimester during pregnancy, so they may have a healthy infant, and teaching some of our Lakota beliefs with that, creating a cradle board, preparation for the birth, and our Hoyekiyapi, our babies, to teach them that once their infant is born, to bury the placenta or put it in a tree. We have classes on creating amulets, the kea or agleshka, creating head coverings for the baby, create a baby star quilt, because I learned that in the past it was a buffalo hide that they gave to the infants. And so now we give them star quilts. So we teach them how to make a baby star quilt and the importance of that baby star quilt. Lakota naming, Lakota lullabies, welcoming the baby moccasins. For our Wakanja, Wikushkala and Kushkalaka, we have gathered Lakota games, Lakota stories, Lakota songs, and resources on our relationships with other relatives, meaning plants, trees, birds, animals, Lakota star knowledge, sacred sites, family, kinship, and communities. So we've got some resources in that area for our outdoor, also including evolution of our teepees, landforms, the cosmic order, animals, Lakota, and plant usage. So we have a lot of that information ready to create some kind of a curriculum. So what we did in 2019, we were pretty heavy in our cultural classes. So we held a total of 40 hours of staff professional development trainings, 20 hours of staff meetings, organizing and preparing for events. 97 hours of training were offered to in-home providers, parents, community members on holistic approaches of healthy learning, healthy living, Lakota language immersions, personal goal setting, and more. 36 hours on Lakota language preservation, Lakota bingo, 36 hours of Lakota language preservation, Lakota speaking games, including bingo, 30 hours of Lakota preservation with history classes, 60 hours of various teaching of harvesting trips, timsila, sage, cheaka, different berries. Lakota language preservation project was the ones responsible for getting all of that out. 20 hours of the Pteoyate teaching, including buffalo harvest, Lakota language. 132 hours of Lakota song and dance, teaching the dances and proper songs. 193 hours of song and dance traditional art making, ribbon skirt, ribbon shirt, baby moccasin, cradle board. 20 hours of meetings for the Lakota naming to teach our community members what to do to prepare to name the child. So 16 hours of understanding adverse childhood experiences, 12 on emotional intelligence, 10 on personal goal setting, 12 on early brain development, 6 on what is resilience, 12 on nutrition for food as medicine, and 300 distributed Lakota language learning resources were distributed. So I kind of wanted to touch on the importance of the adverse childhood experiences and how it relates to languages. Trauma and stress alter a young person's brain functions, impacting learning, causing behavioral problems, and igniting a cycle of violence. Understanding trauma and its impacts on young learners help educators better serve the emotional needs of their students and helping trauma survivors thrive in the classroom. When we provide safe spaces with trusted adults and build meaningful relationships with our children, we open up the opportunity for them to be able to learn in a place that is accepting and understanding their needs and tailor the education to fit individual needs, increasing success for retaining information and language. So we take these adverse childhood experiences pretty important. And then I had Royal here, but I think he skinned out on us, so I'll read his little. Royal is, Yellowhawk is employed at the child care office, and he's tasked with teaching language through song. And so a little write-up that he did is working on vocabulary and sentence structure, the identity through children's songs, the young man's songs, young women's songs, elder songs, identity, go back as far as you can in your ancestry healing, and what does it mean? What does it feel like? History and kinships. So that's some of the stuff that he put together here, and protocols. So that's some of Royal's stuff. And I don't do this alone, and I really want to stress that I have a lot of help in the office, and in order to get this stuff accomplished, it takes quite a bit of staff to get this done. Not only are we doing these classes and planning for them, we're also cleaning and doing a lot of stuff. And what seems to be a really big hit is beading the earrings. And so that also kind of came about was people learning arts and crafts and being able to sell those items. Right after one of our beading classes, somebody sold a pair of earrings for like $50. So it kind of became a place for them to learn a trade so they can earn themselves some money. And so that's something that I always like to promote is, purchasing arts and crafts from our people instead of spending a lot of money at Walmart or Office Products or wherever that is, and give those out as door prizes, to our people. So I wanted Sunrise to come up and talk a little bit about what she does, and then Abel.
I'm sitting here in a room full of educators, so please excuse me because who am I? I can say I'm one of the youngest ones in here. So, you guys have a lot more knowledge than I do. I'm just bringing experience through my life and the opportunity that Gail has given me to express what I feel is important for us through my life experiences. I graduated here. I got my associate's degree here. I got my bachelor's degree here, and I got my master's degree here, and I am applying for a doctoral program at the University of North Dakota to get a PhD in understanding Indigenous health. So that's not to become a medical doctor, but it's really understanding, and if you guys heard me speak before in the past, you're going to hear trauma-informed practices. And I know you may get tired of hearing about it, but I'm really getting tired of attending funeral after funeral, too. I'm really getting tired of dealing with negative behaviors that affect everything in our communities. That's why we are not thriving as a nation, because we cannot get along. We don't even respect ourselves enough to respect anybody else next to us. So at the child care program, I've been working with youth for the past 17 years. Adults are really hard to work with. They're set in their ways, so I really invest a lot of my time and energy in the youth. And how are we going to change the future of our Oyate is with the parents that are bringing these babies into the world, and they're coming through our program, and we're providing a variety of activities at the child care program. One of the ones that Anpe Lutawi is my Lakota name that was recently given to me. I helped with many other members of the community give about 200 kids Lakota names over the years. And I felt that if I was going to do these for these kids and give them a strong understanding of who they were as an identity, I wanted that too. So I received my Lakota name through Lexi Rick, Two Dogs' Altar, and Porcupine. And the spirits came back and named me Red Day Woman. And since then, we've been helping these children and families find identity. But having a trauma-informed space is what is very important. And I was looking at the agenda that SGU handed out, and you guys wanted to look at what are some of the ways that Sintegleshka can play a part in our program's future. When we're looking at the teachers that you are producing out of this facility, we really need to, and I don't know if it's already incorporated into your curriculum of what you're teaching them, but they really need to have a full understanding of the historical and intergenerational traumas. They need to have a full understanding of adverse childhood experiences, because that's what's killing us. We are dying. Life expectancy here, 63 years old. We're the second deadliest county in the United States, and we're still holding that statistic because we are dying of diseases that are preventable, and it's affecting everything. We can't graduate anybody from the high school because trauma affects your ability to learn. Teachers need to come out of this or institution understanding everything, their own traumas, their own family's traumas, the traumas of this community. Then you start to look at innovative ways of how we bring Lakota culture and language. All of that can heal us. All of that's been healing us, and we have that disconnect. So Sintegleshka University, and maybe you already have it incorporated, but you guys need to have trauma-informed. Teachers know how to create trauma-informed classroom settings when they leave here. They need to have all of this knowledge because you're going into the classrooms and dealing with children who have lots of traumas, and we are setting them up for failure when we don't understand it ourselves. So that's a huge thing that Sintegleshka needs to understand and create those in the curriculum that you're teaching the individuals that are graduating out of here. We all need to be on the same page in order for us to help heal our nation together. So those are some of the things that I was looking at. And I have one of my Puis up here, Abilene Stone, and we just kind of wanted, because we've been sitting here all day, so we just kind of look at some of the things that we do. We look at different ways of learning. How do we learn? When I'm learning a different song or something from her, I take the Lakota word or phrase or song that I'm learning. I write it down in a way that I hear it. I get that deeper meaning of what that word is, and then I retain this information. So we've created things like videos we put on. One day we were sitting there, and we created a calendar. The calendar goes from new moon to new moon. It's for the 13 moon calendars, and the activities and all of the calendars are appropriate for the times of the year of what we should be doing. So winter month activities, we're doing a lot of storytelling, we're doing a lot of hands-on projects so that we're staying indoors and we're becoming industrious. Gail talked about a lady came to our class, learned how to make a pair of beaded earrings. She needed groceries, and she turned around and sold a pair that same night for $50 and was able to go get some groceries. It's empowering our people in so many ways. So one of the things that we went and did, and I noticed when I was checking back on the Facebook page, and I had Head Start teachers actually inboxed me and said, hey, I taught my kids and I taught myself the itsy bitsy spider through your guys' Facebook page. Can you guys get more them type of videos? So we have several Head Start classrooms now that they're all singing the itsy bitsy spider in Lakota. So we came up with other different ideas. We learn from our kids. We think we know what's right for our kids. This weekend, my grandson, he always teaches me things. So last night we were sitting there singing, and he sings all the time, so I get in character with him. He's 3. So there's this new song, I don't know if you guys heard it, called Baby Sharkadoo. Baby Sharkadoo, do 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 do. So last night he was singing that, and he said, Grandma, your turn, because it goes through every family member. It goes through a mom and a dad and a grandma and a grandpa shark. So he said, Grandma Shark. So I'm sitting up there, Grandma Shark, do. So I was thinking, how cool would this be to be in Lakota? I was like, we don't got a word for shark, but maybe something with horan. How do you say sharp teeth? So we're thinking about it. So me and Abilene are going to be creating that and creating those videos, because different ways of learning. If our kids are getting this and retaining this information, also with the staff, how do we encourage them to learn these to be teaching our kids? So we're going to be going through this trial stuff that we're doing with our own classrooms, and that video with the itsy bitsy spider alone got 33,000 views and over 1,000 shares. People in North Dakota were messaging me, they taught their kids the itsy bitsy spider. And it was just a spare of the moment deal. We're sitting there organizing our calendar. She started singing it, and I recorded her, posted it, and didn't realize it was going to get that. During the youth powwow, we gave over 200 kids the opportunity to be accepted into the Wocekiye circle. So 100 shawls are made and 100 vests are made and given out. That video, it was about a minute video we filmed of all the kids coming out. That one got over 65,000 views and about 1,500 shares on Facebook, and we had an overwhelming of responses of communities who are going to be modeling that exact same thing, of welcoming them little spirits into the Wocekiye circle. So this knowledge is not ours, it's for us to share, it's for us to encourage each other. Everybody gets on board, we're all going to get this done. So it's just a lot of different things that we are doing at childcare, and I'm very excited to be a part of this movement because the whole outdoor playground that Gail talked about and what we went around, that's huge. That's another thing that Sintegleshka needs to look at is how we're learning. We're still taking this westernized concept of that we need to be indoors, sitting at a desk, learning. That's not how we learned. That is not how we taught the generations. We didn't teach our children the language through manuals and booklets and videos. It was all through listening and paying attention. And now we have to find innovative ways. And going back outside with the outdoor classroom, the spirits, when we went to the ceremony, like Gail said, we're taking this on a spiritual level of asking for guidance. We want to be able to make sure that what we're doing it the right way. So I'm excited about this outdoor. We're recreating the creation story. We're going to have the miniature Black Hills here, Storybook Island Lakota style, for our kids to know all these sacred sites and to know all these different things, and that Sintegleshka University should be a part of that and know every part of that playground back in, everything, all of the proper words for all the sacred sites, be very well versed in all of our traditional oral history as well. So that has to be a big, huge thing too of all these teachers that are coming out of here, non-native or not. You need to know, understand of where you're working at and who we are. And don't try to change our teaching methods of what was given to us by ancestors. We're doing that and we're staying inside of these four walls, and it's not working for us. It's not. So this outdoor classroom is going to be a way we can take the teachings back outside. They're hungry, they're going to pull some choke cherries right off that tree, dig up a timsila. That's what we were doing when we were hunting, digging timsilas, eating it right there. Telling stories of why we were doing all these things. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be open to the public. And our goal is to create healthy families so we work ourselves out of a job. I don't want to be here in 20 years from now talking about the same things. I don't. So those are my contributions to what I think Sintegleshka we need to incorporate and help prepare individuals who are leaving this institution. So I'm very proud to get my degrees here at Sintegleshka. I encourage all the young students that I work with to come here. They feel that they need to go far away to the furthest place to be successful, and I say we have it right here in our backyard. So I'm really pushing for a lot of my daughters here. My daughter's going to be receiving her associates and already working on bachelor's classes, and my daughter was in the classrooms with me while I was taking classes, and now she's here. So just thank you for listening, and thank you for all the work that you guys are all doing in the community. It's all very important. And just another little side note too, I heard people talking about the land before we went to lunch, and I went in there and we all had these plates and cups and bowls and spoons, and we all threw it in the trash. Shame on us. I think we should need the Watecha challenge, and don't buy no more paper plates. If we have gatherings like this, if you don't bring your Watecha bowls, then you don't eat. I remember my grandma and I'm always going around with their Watecha bowls. So if we're going to be good relatives to each other, got to remember Unchi Makatu as well. That was just a little side note, so the Watecha challenge. But thank you guys for listening and everything that you're doing out there. And are you going to talk for a little bit? Okay. And then here I'll, my Pumio here, Stilawi, I call her. She'll be, she'll come talk.
Hello, everybody. My name is Aileen Stone. I work with the child care program. I'm under the Lakota Language Preservation Project. I got on board back in 2018 with Gail and the child care. The Lakota language, like I said before, it's a beautiful language that we have. Woglakapi cha, Woglakapi le washtekte. I've been incorporating the language with childcare as they do their culture classes. Like they do the earrings, the beaded earrings, the baby moccasins, the baby bonnet, I incorporate the language, the tools that they use for that. For instance, yushla. Can anybody tell me what yushla is? Scissors. Tchaha. Tchaha. These are the simple language words that I use to incorporate that, to help the home providers plus the public. And I do Lakota bingo. I have Lakota language from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And I also do a Wicawotapi class. A Wicawotapi class is where you sing behind the drum group. And that is another way to incorporate the language, to learn, to want to learn. And we can't force you to not want to learn. It's up to you. But you know, it's good. The language is really beautiful. I come from a family that spoke the language all the time. Every time I get emotional because that's what my mom and my dad and my grandma and my grandpa, they left me. To carry on this way of life, the culture and the language. And I'm doing my best. So the child care program is a good place to come and want to learn the language. I'm sorry for being emotional. And I just want to thank Gail for hiring me to help in this way. And I'm having a Wicawotapi class tonight from 5:30 to 7. So any of you young ladies that want to learn how to Wicawotapi, you can come and have some good food and visit and we'll sing. Pilama Anpe. Mitakrasi.
So I want to thank these two for doing such a good job and explaining things, and especially the stuff I left out. And I wanted to say that one other thing that Royal said was, our ancestors left us instructions. And those instructions are in our songs. So we use a heavy dose of songs to remember how to do things. And also something that Lekshi Leonard Krodog said to us is that by doing these activities and teaching our families to plant the placenta or put them in the tree, we are ensuring the survival of our Lakota nation. And I thought that was pretty powerful. So, Wopilat Kanka.
Wastelo, Wopila. A lot of things going on the Rosebud, and teaching and incorporating the language and culture into what we're teaching, who we are. At some point we need to all come together to kind of create a comprehensive learning curricula that we utilize throughout the area. Shawl, wana lechit gayauna takoni waglaka kostek the hill. Cheryl's got her bodyguard here, Dan here with him.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your presence here. I really want to welcome and give a special thanks to all our partners in education that help make our program successful and help you in turn have highly qualified teachers in your classroom. Special thanks to Rosebud Sioux Tribe Early Head Start and Head Start for their partnership and help, to the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Tribal Education Programs, St. Francis, Todd County, and the area schools with whom our teachers are placed. Last year, just a really quick update, we graduated 11 students with Associate of Arts degrees. Those 11 are employed in area schools as either as paras at this time or working with the Rosebud Sioux Tribe Early Head Start or Head Start program. And they're making a positive difference in the lives of children. We graduated 4 people with bachelor's degrees, all of whom are employed in area or local schools, and 9 master's degree programs, the majority of them working as principals within the schools. We also received a 7-year accreditation from the state of South Dakota. That's the highest number of years that you can get for your accreditation, with some very positive comments about the teachers that are employed. They went out and visited schools, talked to our employers, visited with parents, talked to the students, and so on. So they had a wide view of what it was. And of course, we're always looking to improve what it is we do, to work as partners, and to be very open-minded in the things that we can bring to the program. So again, I want to welcome you here. Thank you for your participation. It's the first time Dan Seibel has been called my bodyguard. I call him my boss now, and for the leadership that he provides. And I also just want to give a shout out to the people who teach in our program, who are our adjunct professors. Our department has 1 full-time person working in the graduate program. Everybody else is an adjunct professor. I would not trade those people for anything because they're the ones who are in there with students every single day, and they bring real life experiences to the classroom and blend that with what it is that we have to do. So with that, I'll let Dan tell you what we're going to do. This is going to be an interactive session. I don't know if we're going to dance or not, but we're going to do some interactive things. So thank you again. I sincerely do thank you for being here.
As her bodyguard, you need to clap louder. No. Good afternoon. There you go. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Dan Seibel. I'm the Dean of Education here at St. Nicholas University. I'm very proud to work here and very honored to be able to share some time with you this afternoon. I want to thank everyone who's up here, who's bringing their thoughts and their ideas and their hard work into this circle so that we can learn and share from each other. I would like to ask if there's anyone who's not up here at the tables who is a stakeholder in the education here on Rosebud, and by that we mean an educator or a parent or a leader or a student or anyone involved in education that would like to share any words. We'd like to invite you to come up here. We have some empty seats around, and would like to thank you, give a thank you to those who responded on short notice and came and joined us today. What we're going to do today is, I want to get everyone out of here by 4 o'clock because that's when I asked you to come from 1 to 4, so I want to honor your time. And so we have about an hour and a half together that what our goal is to create a space where people who are doing important work all over Rosebud in education can come together and share what's going on and open lines of communication and start the conversation so that we can start collaborating better together. That's the number one thing I hear from educators from all different corners, is that it would be nice to hear what other people are doing, because I work so hard in our area, and it's just great to hear from other people. And I want to thank Sunrise. Those words that you shared about the work that you guys are doing around trauma-informed teaching methods and being the kind of educators that really understand what students are going through and generational trauma, to hear that kind of work that you're doing and to know the stuff that we're doing in our classrooms and saying, well, how can we better prepare and improve our programs so that they match up with the work that you're doing. To hear that is exactly what this space is for. And it's encouraging for us to know we're on the right track and to be thinking critically about what we can do better. And then to also know, oh, we have resources out there. We have someone who's doing this full time that we can go to. So that's what this space is going to be about. And I'm going to do something that's a little bit strange, but we're going to ask to have a 3-minute timer put up there. It's just a suggestion. You don't have to follow it. But because we have so many voices that we'd like to hear from, we're going to have a 3-minute suggested timer. And what we'd like to hear from you is from your organization. We have schools, we have tribal organizations, we have tribal eds here, Head Starts here, people from Sinte are here, people from K-12, everywhere, is to hear in 3 minutes one of two things. And so I had 2 questions that Roger was going to throw up there for me. And you can go down either road, but we'd like to hear from your organization, what is one success that you've had this past year that you think it's important to share out? And I'm just thinking about all the successes that your program shared, all the, listed off all the different trainings that you've done and the people that you've had. That's so inspiring for everyone else to hear and say, oh, that's going on. I want to partner with that, or I can feel more confident in my work knowing someone else is out there doing that work. So share those things with us. Share them with this group so that we can take it back to our corners of education on Rosebud and make sure that, that we know the good work that's happening. So I'd like to invite you to share either some successes from your school or from your organization from this past year, or if there's something that you're working on right now or will be working on in the future that you want people to know about so that we can collaborate better together and we can pitch in and be on the same page. If there's something you'd like to share, we'd like to hear that too. So again, we have a 3-minute suggested timer, 2 potential questions that you could respond to. You're free to pass if you feel like you've shared enough or you don't want to share right now, that's fine. But if you're open to sharing, we'd love to hear from you. So I'm going to use Cheryl as an example. Cheryl gave you a quick update on where we were at in our education program, how many we graduated this year, and then I would add on that we're working hard to help people get over the hump of getting certified in the state of South Dakota by doing more preparation for local teachers. So there's some different things we're excited to work on, but the way that she shared for a couple minutes is the kind of thing that we would like to hear from you. So I'm going to pass this mic around, and feel free to talk or to pass it along, and if we can get those couple questions up there, awesome, thank you. And can I get this mic on? Check one. I'll just take this one around. He says it's a user error. He's probably right. Where's Brad? Okay. Okay. So, and then we'll just have you pass it either way. And your 2 questions are up there if you can read those and take it whichever direction you want.
So my name is Cecilia Biz Spadatel. I'm a education committee member for the tribe. And one success for growth that I'd like to share is in the last couple months, the Tribal Council had passed a coordinator position for the 2012 Tribal Action Plan. It's an ordinance to address alcohol and drugs, and I'm really excited. Now we're just moving on to finding the funding to be able to hire somebody, and it depends on where it's an assessment. The ordinance is an assessment, and so I'm putting it out there for everyone to take a look at it, maybe bring our minds together of where we want to assess and begin the therapeutic pieces for our families. The second thing I'm focused on is our Rosebud Sioux Tribe Comprehensive Economic Development Plan. And an example would be in 2018, our Tribal Council put the Lakota language as a goal in that comprehensive economic development plan. And there are objectives in that document about language. So I would assume anyone doing language, look at that document and figure out which objective you fall under and take it from there of however you're going to use that document. The economic development plan for the tribe is, an example would be is if you have a proposal, like Preservation Project had a proposal, they would, if you're taking it to DC, to your lobbyists or ANA, wherever you're getting your funding from, what they do is they go to the congressional people turn around and talk to the Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce turns around and talks to the Economic Development Administration. That Economic Development Administration says, or Department of Commerce says to Economic Development Administration, is this in Rosebud's plan? They say, yes, it is. And the Department of Commerce says, well, fund it. So that's kind of that whole circle of why we use a comprehensive economic development plan for language. Thank you.
Would you tell us where we can find that 2008 document you mentioned?
If you want to get a hold of me, I can email you whichever of those that you would like to look at.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing.
Good afternoon. I'm Vonda Puyer Whipple. I'm the director for the Sichango Lakota Oyate Early Childhood Program. We recently changed our name like maybe a year ago, so we're still adjusting because we still want to say Head Start and Early Head Start. I've been in this position, I'm going on my 10th year, and I also want to recognize Glashka University as being one of the biggest strengths here, because it's hard for a lot of people to leave here and go get their education off, just like kind of piggybacking what Sunrise said. You know, if it wasn't for this university, I would have never got the same kind of degree she got. So I really, and it's hard to go and live somewhere else and try to make a living and make it work, you know? So we're so fortunate to have this university, and I really am grateful. But one of the things that, so supplemental funds are available every year, so every time they come available, we apply for them. And right this school year, we're working on this is our first year doing Head Start duration, meaning going from 128 school days to 170 school days, and having the kids in the classroom 5 hours versus 6, well, yeah, now they're 6 hours. So this is the year that we started doing that, so the last day for Head Start is going to be June 30th. And with that grant, we got 20 extra positions funded. So we were just talking that our fiscal year for Head Start ends March 31st, so we're trying to find all different ways of like improving our program, like playground equipment, classroom equipment, supplies, busing. And then we got funded for a new center in Marlies, so that's something that's getting worked on right now in a warehouse at SWA, and that's going to be moved out this spring. So since I've been the director, our budget in 2010, when I first started, it was 2.2 million, and now it's over 7.3 million, and I'm really, really grateful for that. We've made so many improvements in our program, but we're not perfect, and we never will claim to be. But we do have a lot of strengths in our program. But one of the concerns that we have is staffing and to get everybody to get their degrees that are in the classroom. And we owe a lot to Cheryl, and I appreciate all the work she's collaborated with over the years. But one thing I do want to mention is Head Start nationally was funded for 2020, they got 250 million extra. So nationally, their budget is over 10 billion, 10.5 billion. And one of the things that we got funded for is to, there was 4 million earmarked to reestablish the partnership with the colleges and Head Start again. So I'm really excited to see what that's gonna come and play out to be. If it was anything like it used to be back in the day, it was a good program. A lot of our staff, you know, if they was to tell success stories in our program, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. And we're so proud of our staff, and we really appreciate all of them. They really work hard, and we're all so grateful for that. And I wanna, can these guys introduce themselves? They're a part of our team.
My name is Lavera Brave. I'm one of the 5 education managers, and I oversee the Rosebud St. Francis infant toddler classrooms, early Head Start. But just following up with what Vonda said and how Sinte can play a part or help our staff, because we have requirements while the staff do, like to earn their CDA first, then their AA, and then their BS. But it's really a struggle to try to keep them because they're working full-time. And Cheryl's been really working with us, providing those, but I think we need to look at other avenues to open it up to the community and just not employees, because we find it hard to recruit staff. So if it was opened up to the community, even online, we could probably find more staffing for our classrooms. And I know DSS offers scholarships, like to bring in those TANF workers, enroll them in school, get a scholarship. I mean, we would pick them up, and they can continue their education here. But what else? Oh yeah, we talked about the GED program with Denise, and we didn't know that you guys had Pearson VUE testing here. So we checked into the CDA testing and exam, and it could be offered here. So which is a good thing for our program, because we've been sending our students to Rapid City. What else was there? Even with the high schools, because a CDA credential, you don't need a high school diploma. You can offer it to seniors in high school, and they can receive that national award and be employed right out of high school. And that's what we're trying to do, is recruit more employees that way. You have anything?
Will you say your new name one more time so I don't say Head Start?
Sichangu Lakota Oyate Early Childhood Program.
Okay.
So when we do our grants and stuff, they'll say, well, what is this, Head Start or early? So it's kind of that part is kind of hard. But with the 20 additional positions, I want to introduce Henry Quickbear. He was one of the ones that applied.
Oh, Henry Quickbear Sr. in Wicawotapi. I am the cultural manager at the Head Start department, and I know this is my first year at Head Start, and I'm learning the process as it goes. And one of my main jobs, I'm trying to do is implement the language to the little babies we're teaching, and also a lot of cultural activities for our parents as well and our teachers. So I'm thinking that, next year, going into another year, I think it's going to be pretty strong. So it's a process, but it's going to work.
Another thing I wanted to add too is our salary scale increased. So our entry-level people, staff coming in now is at $12.75, which seems really low still to me. So we was just having a conversation with our HR manager, Kara Marshall, last week, and said at least we should put them to 13. But when 10 years, when I started in 2010, entry level were $8.75. So we did really make a jump on that. And then for AA degrees, you get 17, a bachelor's 20, and a master's 25. But we still want to get higher than that. People deserve what you can, you got to pay people their worth. You know what I mean? Somebody at the office said, don't you say, you know what I mean? And how else, here it comes out. But yeah, we just have a lot of good ideas and good plans for our program, and we just always, the Office of Head Start, one of the things they always talk about is continuous improvement, and that's what we're all about. We did a survey about 2 weeks ago to get feedback from our staff about how things are working in the program, in the classrooms with their paperwork. And we want to, if there's a struggle in any area in Head Start, we want to figure out a plan of action, because when they're having a hard time, it's hard for them to teach, you know? And anyway, I just love what I do, and we're going to get better and better. I'm so excited. Woo!
Well, I think on behalf of everyone here, I can say how thankful we are to have leaders like you in early childhood education. It's a foundation of what we're all building on. So thank you for sharing those things. Very exciting year coming up for you, and next year hope you come back and tell us how that growth has gone. Let's give them a round of applause. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
One more comment. In addition to the $4 million on reestablishing the partnerships, they awarded $250 million for quality improvement, which includes additional staffing and staff training on trauma-informed approaches to service delivery. So our family advocates went to a training that Sunrise had in Rapid City. So, you know, across the United States, there's 154 tribal Head Starts, and I have no clue how many non-Indian Head Start programs there are across the nation, but every program is suffering with this same thing that's happening in our families. So much that Congress awarded money for it. So this was part of the $250 million for quality improvement, and then $100 million for early Head Start expansion. And we're gonna try to get 4 more centers, because we have such a huge waiting list. It's just unbelievable. And then $193 million for COLA increases, so it's exciting.
Well, I'm glad Trump didn't get his way to get rid of Head Start. I have a bad cold, so forgive me. Hihani Washde Mie Cindy Young, my Indian name is Wanaksha Owang Washdewi, was given to me when I graduated high school by a elder from St. Francis. Left Handbo clan, Albert, or I can't remember his name now. What was his name? Left Handbo? Oh, I can't remember his name. Anyway, I want to greet you with an open heart. I'm the education director for the Rosebud Sioux Tribe, and I just want to give you a little bit of background of our office. We have 13 staff members, 3.5 are dedicated to working with me with the tribal ed initiatives, and the rest of the staff are support service or grant staff for higher ed, infants and toddlers, and truancy. And well, actually it's 5.5 was we moved 2 of them over. 5.5 workers, that means they're dedicated to other programs as well. I just wanted to, to answer those questions. I was trying to answer the questions on the beginning of the overall, our key planning objectives. Our main objective is to make sure that all our Lakota, Sicangu Lakota students receive a culturally responsive education, and that it's a quality education from our local schools. And we have only one tribal school. The majority of our kids attend the public schools, and so we work real close with the public schools. Last year I talked about our ed code. We should have been done with our ed code. We are just now reviewing the updates that were made over the past 1.5 years, and we had finally hired a local tribal attorney, and she's not here today, but we're working with Janet Routson to get that code completed, and we're trying to get it completed by January, but she works out of the courthouse, and we supplement that, and so she had other projects that had to be done before that grant ran out. So now we will be working with her real close to have all of that done as soon as possible, and that'll get out to everybody. And so I apologize, that's not done from last year, as I was thinking. That was not in my notes. But projects that we're working on, one of the successes that we do have is the work that Lydia Whirlwind Soldier has done with the Sicangu Lakota cultural curriculum. And as I mentioned last year before, that was just about done. It's now finished, and we just got it back. We just got it from, it's fresh off the printing press. I'm getting nervous and I have a bad sore throat, sorry. So we just got those in Friday. I didn't even open them. I was waiting for Lydia to come to work today, and she was sick. So tomorrow in the morning, we'll be opening those books, and hopefully we're not going to have too many mistakes or problems with the printing of it. I don't want to look at it by myself. So those will be piloted. Those will be piloted. We just got the K to 5. It's just K to 5. And then we have the middle school and the high school being printed now. I just got the email that they started the printing for the middle school, and then as soon as that's done, hopefully this week or so. It's been taking a long while, but we're working with Sisseton Publishing Institute. They have an A&A grant, language and cultural A&A grant, and that's one of the things that they're doing with that grant is that they're printing, they have a little printing press, and it's color. We were going to do them at Midland News, but they didn't do color, and they didn't offer editing, so I really want to say, thank the Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate for helping us with that. And we did do some booklets with Head Start back when Lydia was working with us before she became a councilwoman, and I need to get that printed, and we'll get that to you to Head Start. And I was going to have her work on some more things for Head Start, but she started the language. So she started the language. She was going to retire and just do the work that I asked her to do, and she got some kind of a energy spurt where she decided that she wanted to actually do the language. And so she did the first elementary level, and she wants to go out to the schools and talk to the language teachers to work with them the way that they're teaching and incorporate that. So Cheryl Rowan Soldier is also in our department, who happens to be her daughter, and she's kind of working with Lydia now. Lydia's at retirement time, and she's having some deafness going on, so she's going to train Cheryl to go out and do that work with her and for the department. So they've set up all their meetings. Cheryl's sick today too, so she wasn't able to be here to let me know the updates of what her and Lydia are working on. But I know that the pilots, we picked out 4 schools that will work with to pilot those K to 5 curriculums, and we'll give you guys copies. Cheryl and Mr. Saibal, Dan, I couldn't remember his first name. We did a little survey to send them out and do some little training with those 4 schools, and of course it would be St. Francis Indian School as priority, and then Rosebud Elementary, since they've been doing a lot of work with the Ochete Shakoe Essential Understandings, and of course Todd County Middle School when we get the middle school one, and the He-Dog School, because they have those grants, those Native American Achievement Grants, and that goes in alignment with what they're trying to sustain. Those grants have ended in December, and so the school, thankfully, the school board is going to sustain those projects and let them continue the work that they finally got started. It was a 3-year grant. So Spring Creek, we're going to throw in Spring Creek, even though they didn't have that on that grant. There's a lot of speakers there, and we don't want to lose all the speakers that we are losing, as Gail pointed out. So that's one of the successes for that. And in the middle school will be St. Francis and Todd County Middle School. And I did meet with Mr. Superintendent Tom Cameron this morning and asked if they wanted to be in the pilot, and he was going to have to go back and talk to his constituents to see if they want to be in this pilot with us. But hopefully they will start with the middle school at least, since we already had enough booklets for the K to 5 with those project schools that I just mentioned. And then on number 2, what is another project for focus on from our area, and that's where Rosemary was sitting here with me. Rosemary Claremont is our education specialist, along with Cheryl Rowan Soldier. Now, she was going to talk about that project, and she had to leave for a doctor's appointment at 3 o'clock. And it's the culturalizing the math standards, and we've talked about this to some of the people in the room. So we're working with this gentleman that's doing contracts across the Indian country, USA, and he's on demand, and we talked about he needs to build and grow his little company, but I found out he works full-time and does this on the side. So it's, he's in high demand because we're doing K to 12 culturalizing math projects in schools across Indian Nation. I think he's mostly been doing Southwest work. So we've brought him here, and the person that initiated that was the principal at the middle school, Dana Hawkes, with that funding that they got from the Native American Achievement Grant from the state of South Dakota Education Department. And so we're working with him, like we have like a 2-year contract where we are, when he comes, he spends 2 days with them and then 2 days with with tribal ed, and we invite the schools, the local schools that want to participate other than the middle school. So they do 2 days with the middle school, and then we're bringing in Dog and St. Francis to, and also Spring Creek teachers and super principals, I was gonna say superintendents. So those are the two, to answer those 2 questions. I'm really excited about these projects. I keep trying to move on to something else, and then I keep getting stuck trying to start these other projects. So I want them done as soon as possible. So before we move on, but we're able to do these projects with these grants that we have. We have a tribal ed department grant from the United States Department of Ed, and then we have the other grant is also from the Department of Ed for ed enhancement. And that one's primarily to work with St. Francis and tribal ed, but through tribal ed, we're able to reach all our local public schools through that. And it's also to cover the dorm, anything that the dorms needs. Most of the work that we do at the dorm is providing training for them, board training, and they haven't really asked for very much. And does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Yeah, I would just, out of all those things you said, one thing I've been part of is I went to one of the meetings of rewriting the math standards locally, which is such a cool undertaking, and is the kind of thing that I know our president here has been talking about for a long time, is how do we retake ownership of what happens in our schools and in our university, and we set the bar for ourselves and then we go and do it. And so that's a really exciting thing to know that you guys are working on, and maybe something not everyone knows about, that we're, there's a group that's working hard to rewrite the K-12 math standards, but Rosebud specific context, so it's a very cool thing.
And their tribal math, the tribe, we're able to do that through the Ed Code wants us to have tribal standards. And so we have the cultural standards that Lydia did, and we announced, I think she did a workshop here maybe 5-6 years ago, and that will be that's been put into the, that will be put into the Ed Code as well. And then part of the mission of the Ed Code, one of the other goals of the Tribal Ed Department is to carry out the work that the people from the Education Committee, and I think Lionel was on that committee back in the day when they wrote the Ed Code and contracted or worked with NARF, is to make sure that our kids had that that quality education that included our cultural background, so our kids could feel good about who they are, know who they are, like Mr. Ben Blackburn was talking about. And all the stuff he's saying, I remember when I was a kid that Mr. and Mrs. One Star was the ones that really taught us a lot about who we were. In the summer times, they were allowed to do that. I don't even know who paid them. I'm sure they got paid by somewhere, but that's where we started to discover who we were. Like Ben said, we didn't know who we were. Just the traditional families did. And I remember 1972, 73, when Leonard Crow Dog and his father was still alive, and they brought those folks to the school to teach us in running. Was it Al running? They brought him to the school and talked about what Lakota is about and reintroduced it into the schools. But the other part of the Ed Code was that we would have tribal standards and curriculum, and so we have the cultural curriculum, or the cultural standards, the cultural curriculum that are aligned to the Common Core, and then this math came along the way. It wasn't planned, but because of that grant, we were able to partner with Todd County and do that. And that had to get all approved by the boards, the council and the board, so that's really exciting. And I don't know what that's gonna look like, but it's gonna be exciting, because I know Lydia had developed some math standards that she no longer has in her possession because she left it at the Todd County School and it's gone. So she was asked by another tribe or organization to work with and help develop that. And of course, she's not going to do that at this time. She's not able to do that anymore. So it's exciting that we got that void taken care of.
Well, thank you for sharing, and thank you for all the hard work you and your team do. Let's give a round of applause for the Education Department. Thank you. Okay, if you're just joining us and you have something you'd like to share about what's going on in your corner of education on Rosebud, feel free to come join us at the table. We have 2 questions that we're answering. You can answer either one or both. One is a success or area of growth from the past year that you think the rest of the stakeholders, it would be valuable for them to know about, or a project or focus area for the next year that you would like people to know about in case it makes sense to collaborate or to make sure lines of communication are open. So we have a 3-minute suggestion, but of course, if you're doing lots of things, we want to hear about it. So tell us what you got, and we'll go right down the line.
Hi, I'm Mary Van Winkle, and I am the elementary social worker for Todd County Schools. I'm not new to the Rosebud. Most of you, or a lot of you, should know me. I told Cindy I was going to yield my time to her, so she took it serious. Just teasing. So a big part, and I'm here on behalf of the fact that Marlies, our principal, was unable to come. It's parent-teacher conferences today. One of the things that Marlies asked me to share very strongly with the group is that at Rosebud Elementary especially, and I think throughout the Todd County School District, that there's a strong push about growing our own teachers here, our own staff members, that's a real key to success. And so I wanted to let you all know that that is a real emphasis within the school. One of the things that we would deem a success at Rosebud Elementary, we took a key from the middle school that developed what they call the Heart Room. At Rosebud, and Ben, please don't criticize my Lakota. We named it the OEO Blue La Room, which means a calm and sheltered place. And what this place is, and was my primary goal since school started. One of the things that we know we're dealing with a lot of trauma. We know there's all kinds of issues, but one of the things that is key is, first of all, building relationships with our students, also having them learn to have that relationship with themselves. And one of the things that this room is about is self-regulation. We're learning that traditional interaction with problem students, that kind of thing, is really not working. We don't believe that ISS is working. So we're really trying some new and innovative things. And one of the things with the room is that when a student, we help and I work with them and talking, and that we recognize when this feeling is happening. So if you have a student that maybe has a behavior in class, there's always keys or something that they can recognize, and helping them to realize that I don't have to wait till I get into trouble. I just have to simply request to go to the Heart Room, the Calm Room, Miss Mary's room, whatever they want to call it. And so, and I am tracking the statistics on this, and so what we're seeing is not only an increase of the student-driven visits, but we're also seeing that as this happens, the behaviors are starting to decrease. We're starting to see these students that maybe were deemed as problem students in the past are taking more leadership roles. They're taking a buddy role. So that's really exciting for them to see. This is their room. One of the things that I have brought into is the 7 Lakota values and virtues, and because I believe that that's in all of our lives. And so we talk about that. They make the room their own. We have a lot of different projects that they can work on. So that's been a real positive. We are working on the substitute for ISS, which we're trying to come up with a cool name. We're calling it like the ICU, I care about you, realizing that, you know, in-school suspension does not have to be a whole day thing. I mean, it's just mainly giving them the time to focus on what the behavior was, what happened, how are we going to change that, and let them become, you know, to regulate on their own. And also, I was very honored to be part of a group that was part of the Bridges Out of Poverty workshop, and there's several in here that were there with me. And part of that was learning that, you know, the fact that, you know, where kids are at, you know, based on where they come from, that day, you know, trying to teach teachers, the educators, that, you know, your focus may be on math, but that may be the last thing on their mind that day. And so how do we deal with that? Also, learning to teach from using the strength of the student versus their weakness. So I think one of the things, if you remember, you know, that the school psychologist was saying is that, you know, so you have a student that struggles in math, so what do? You throw more math at them, you know, and it's just defeating. And so rather than that, we have a student, I'll just use an example, a first grader who is a phenomenal artist, just incredible. And so one of the things we've done with her, in trying to help lift up in the areas that she needs the help with, is to utilize her art. You know, if mathematics is the issue, then, you know, working with her to draw, you know, 3 cats that are black, 3 cats that are yellow, whatever. But using that strength that she feels confidence in because she knows she's strong in that, and we're seeing that working. So just trying to do very innovative things. The other thing we work very diligently on, I do go to the outer schools. I go to Hedog and to Spring Creek. And one of the things we're doing different groups with the young people there, as well as meeting with them one-on-one. Also building these community partnerships, which are so very important. We can't do this alone. None of us can do it alone. We have to utilize the strengths. We have a parent leadership team that comes in and gives guidance, and, you know, wanting to see, you know, the culture in the classroom. Is Oyate, and does that through her Lakota conversations. Excuse me, my throat's dry. But doing the morning meeting in responsive classroom all in Lakota language. So we're excited about where things are moving. We're also working with the tribe and partnering. The money is available, is our understanding, for a new school in Rosebud. It's just a matter of working with the tribe to find the land. And so that's really exciting because we currently have 311 students enrolled, and we are bursting at the seams. So, but thank you for the opportunity to be here with all of you. I had to laugh because Teacher Lavera left, but she taught my daughter in Head Start. And so it's funny how fast time goes by. Thank you very much.
We want to thank you for making the time for us today, and the only one that was able to come out from our K-12 schools because they have Family Day and Professional Development Day today, so it's really important to hear from the ground what you guys are doing. And I hope next year maybe you'll come back and share with us what are some of the effects that you're seeing in the data that you're collecting about the Heart Room or the room that you're creating, because it seems really encouraging that a lot of our schools are going in that direction and moving away from punitive punishment and looking at behavior in a holistic way that takes into account all the background of a student. And I think that's something people have been asking for a long time, and so it's really cool to see schools doing it. So hope you come back next year and share with us. Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Glenn Marshall from the Boys and Girls Club of Rosebud. Thanks for inviting us to be part of this this gathering. Sorry I was really late. So just a little bit about the club in the past year and stuff like that. So we have 3 centers, as many of you might know, one in Mission, one in Rosebud, and one in Parmalee. And that we're a nonprofit, so every year it's fundraising, and that's always a struggle to keep that going. But we have been able to expand each of the past going on 5 years now, where a couple years ago we added the teen center in Mission, and then just about a year and a half ago we opened the center in Parmalee, which was a big step forward for us. So probably over the last 12 months and going into this next year, it's mostly trying to keep that good stuff going. Our goals, include every day we serve a hot meal to kids and 2 meals a day in the summer. We've got about 25 staff that work each day between the 3 centers. I'm not from here originally, but all of our other staff are, and a lot of them have some really good backgrounds, in the schools as paraprofessionals, or in Head Start or different places like that. Some of them are current SGU Ed students, which is awesome. So, each day at the club, a kid will get academic time. Reading and math are big goals for us, along with enrichment time with what we can do in art, language, sports, health education. In the summer, we have our gardens, and we do a lot of field trips, just out hiking or out gathering plants or whatever it might be. Along with that, we're always looking for partnerships. Some of your programs have partnered before. Food Sovereignty Initiative has been a great partner, Woglakapi, groups like that. Because especially if you're looking to serve some youth during an out-of-school time, or especially in the summer, we do have that captive group of youth. We provide transportation every day, home in the evenings after the after-school program, and also in the summer months we pick up kids and take them home. This last year was about 125 youth average per day between the 3 sites, and looking to grow that. We can probably grow that to 150 at our current capacity, hopefully, over the next year here. To answer the specific question on the board, probably our biggest tangible achievement in the last year was we implemented a new reading program we kind of invested in, and we're able to see really good results from that over a pilot over the summer. It was a web-based platform that our staff got trained on, and we were able to see up to a half year of growth in a lot of reading content areas over the course of the summer there. Because, the schools and your programs are the main deal, but over those summer months, we think we fill a really good gap, and so try to eliminate that summer brain drain is a big goal for us, and looking to expand our reading and our math, get that more targeted, more effective moving forward. And so again, if anyone knows a kid that could use a safe place after school or in the summer, meal, any of that, and if anyone would like to partner, we are there, Mission, Rosebud, and Parmalee. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Glenn.
Oh, Hallelujah, Mela. You are here, should have. Treha, Ellet, Tackle. Otiwai la kongen. Cut block. Dakota, Ukach Nigena Bldg, Itramum, Hillhead, Lishna, Iktob Hoyekiyapi, Lishna Atapta, Tmushna Lil Yankab, Wotak, Wota Nish Bingoshka, Nishechum. As you cut, the head. 1 year to go tale tona kigale oyanka thukta elwa eat yoko ata hai chek se yankab iktob khoya tigla ota ta wol yankab wo tok ta hechil etrunk ta hai yung kon lila ta ko Woglakapi Woglakapi, lakho woyeg na woglakapi to he lila doktogonon kon hetsnat isya unguluhok degi he lila woglakapi ohina. Hena epta nicho yanka hena nishwolo yanka bitraga. Onzik zit tok inajipi. Usli najuna takuku yap. Woglak lakholya woglaka. Washitupshin. Washitu tagne yapshin. La wo Bldg na hetan wakachne na taku akta kitchno. Yuk jamon he. Yuk khan bret. Lakhol woglakok tik single li la mascota isota pompret. Ata maska ostestia ons Wicawotapi nishu muya hena ata. Ikiciyuskinpi ale na woglakok to het to kertischen. It sounds some kahebe. Na lakhol woglakok to he hetsnat isya najikzishn. Ota hena wa Bldg la ota heni watu. So just to translate some of the things I have said, I'm gonna say it in English because I'm a full-blood Native American Indian, and I'm just explaining some things that I know that people here understand and some don't. But this past year, after coming here in December, and they had the elderlies gathering here. They had an elderlies gathering. But just to notice that, there was a lot of fun going on, yeah. But where was that language? Where was our language? It was hardly spoken, but the number 2 language was used a lot. So I have, after that, I have gone back to my community, and I have visited some other communities where that elderlies were gathered. And I attended the gatherings, even though I was not a community member, but still, as they say, that mitako yasni really was strong there. And as the people were gathering and they were talking, the English language was really not even used, hardly. People that start getting up while some of the other people were eating, a person would just stand up, start speaking, start talking about some things. Ehani lechikse pta oyate hip chance na pictures up my up. He built no big shoes up. They said when they come, they shake hands in a friendly way. And then when they're going to leave, they all shake hands again. That some of these things that I have noticed, that those things are not going on. And the meal that were served were all the native style way. The soup and the fried bread and the Wocekiye, they said, They were all native way that they had, these elderlies all done it. They all really gave me a lot of thinking, even though I'm an elder too, but just to think about some of these things, they have really gotten into me. Because before I used to not really care about my language because of what my dad had taught me when I was little. Took us to Nebraska, and he always says, learn the language over there, learn how to speak. Even if you have to fight and make them cry or something, just do it for the fun and get along. So I'd done that. And my mother, she was kind of on the native side, real, even though my dad and my mom, they were real full-blooded, because my dad had gone to a white school and my mom had gone to a boarding school. And that really has given me some thinking there, kind of put me in the middle. So sometimes I get mad on one side, and then again I come back, but then I go back on the other side. But then again, I come back in the middle to be a full-blood. So whenever I have to speak or say something like this, I'm not afraid to use my language. Woglakapi Lakota yesh eche Woglakapanta agya Wocekiye Eyapi Nawashi Jogana Huntash Atoheo Enangno Umakankam. Because in the native way of speaking, using the language, you're just saying the real thing with one meaning. But in the English way, there's a lot of different words that they could be connected to one word. And these things have really have gotten into me. And I've done a lot of studying. I had just read an article that was written by the Redco, the article that there was natives saved the world. So I typed that out and was studying that. And boy, did it really talked about some things that the natives have done. The truth were really starting to come out. And I have even got a part of one. I don't know if it's on here now. Yeah, here's part of it. It's got a forums of powwows and all that. And it's got fancy dance, glass dancing, northern traditional dancing, straight dancing, woman dancing style, old woman dancing style. These are all coming out. And it had really gotten into me. Ochalina, kitang la mosi Lakota, hankeska lecha hai, te pati tong kong. Wana had talk on television yang bonai, wana etkach ayekti maheloyam. As lakol khavo itchunklena, wana hena ayate washitu kwana sam ukachni rokte. And now it's coming. As I have said one time when I spoke in front of a lot of senators, kings, and queens, I spoke in front of them, and I wasn't ashamed to say it. I said, the natives are coming slowly. Wait till when they come out, I said. They're going to be strong, and you're going to be depending on us, I said. Because I'm a native, I said. I raised my hand. So these things now I'm beginning to understand, and things that I have said in the past are starting to slowly come out now. I think I have been saying too much, so I think I'll stop here for now. Thank you.
Okay, we have a few minutes left. Is there anyone else that would like to share some words, particularly focused on education here in Rosebud in the next year? Make sure everyone gets a chance to speak if they'd like to. Okay, we would just like to thank everyone for coming out, for sticking with us this long, and it was really great to hear from some of the different organizations. We hope to make this a yearly thing so that we can continue to bring people together, make sure that we're on the same page. We hope that if you need to, that you can reach out to us at Sinte here at the Education Department. We try to do whatever we can to support the work that's going on for students from the time that they enter this world until they leave. So if there's anything we can do to support your organization, please let us know, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dan. Ashtelo, Shawl, Opila. And thank all of those in education who spoke here. Appreciate it. But this gives it's a good example of knowing where everybody's coming from, and the fact that we need to come together as educators. We have a lot of responsibility, and we know a fair amount of what goes on because we're in education. And education is part of everything that we do. And so there is that need. And today, we heard a lot about coming together. We heard our tribal chairman, Rodney Bordo, speak about the need for tribal government in all of its entities, and St. Iglishka University to come together to address all of the issues and interests that we have. Talked about culture, education. This next several days we'll get into other aspects of the things that we do, but all of it is headed towards coming and putting together a blueprint for the Oyate, that we're all on the same page. And I thank everybody for your ideas. And it's a good day. A lot of things to do here this week, and a lot of celebrating this end of this week with dancing. And so you guys give you an opportunity to put some shine to the moccasins and the new outfits, and it's going to be some happy times Friday evening and Saturday and Sunday with our grand entries and what have you. So, but in education, I was pleased to read in a newspaper this week where St. Teglishka was honored within our state. They selected 15 institutions that were doing, I guess, really, what their missions said they were. They weren't overcharging students. They had good student attendance, and their academic progress was excellent. And out of those 15 that they nominated within a state, we come in third. So I was very happy for who we are as Noyate and for their support of the students, the staff, the faculty, and our board and the administrators, but also our tribal council for supporting us, and all of the entities that we work with, who themselves are, many of them are St. Teglishka graduates. And we thank our students for selecting and coming to St. Teglishka University. It means a lot. Our founders, this is what they had hoped. Chief Spotted Tail's picture behind me, this is what he envisioned for his future generations, was that there would be education and that it would be seeped with Lakota. And I'm sure the ancestral world is happy with us. They give us a lot of guidance and a lot of strength, and they answer our prayers and our hopes and our dreams. And I know that between the two of us, those still living on this earth and those in the spirit world, we're putting together an institution and a Sichongo Oyate that we can all be very proud of. And I thank you for those of you who are in attendance today. I thank those on YouTube throughout the world and also on the Rosebud. I thank our relatives living in cities beyond our cultural homelands. And as we said this morning, I think we may be on a verge of identifying who that one person is in Siberia who has been calling and wanting to keep contact. Ben Rod talked about being in Siberia and meeting with some people up there who express an interest in continuing to work with us here on the Rosebud and at St. Teglishka. And at the planning tables, what we're doing is really we have international high on the planning list, because a lot of our students are expressing an interest in their surveys about having exchanges and being able to maybe even attend school across the oceans. So it's something that we'll continue to promote, as well as looking forward to developing new areas that we need to become involved with our courses and our degrees, especially in the area of land use. So with that, we'll have fun night tonight. Starting here in about 5 o'clock, we'll have some food for those who are in attendance, and then we'll have Marlies Whitehat has graciously accepted to come and bring some fun night activities along with her staff and supporters here. So we'll see you all tomorrow, and through our concluding prayer with ask Leonard. Again, Leonard serves on our Board of Regents, well known and very supportive of the institution, and we thank Dr. Crowdog. We give him an honorary doctorate here several years ago. So, Wocekiye Eyapi. From the morning prayer that we did, and all the afternoon, morning, and up to now, I heard everything. I heard everything. But before I pray, I want to leave a word. Hoyekiyapi. Hoyekiyapi. Woglakapi. Think about it. I never went to school. But that Hoyekiyapi and Woglakapi, my mother and father did all that for me. Traditional. And you know what makes me is Russell means stand right there and speak in English. I'm going to open your mind, Crow Dog. I'm going to use the combination to open your mind, and I will put these words into you. The scientific words that to put you to understand American language. You know. Oh, hey, all these little kids, all these little babies, all these kids we have. Oh, hey, it's a prayer. It's a prayer. It's the prayer of the child. Oh, hey, my little grandson, he speaks Lakota, then he speaks Wicawotapi. Baby, think about it. Oh, yeah, I want to thank all of you. Oh, I'm going to say it in my own language. I want to say a prayer that brings the things together all weekend to the weekend. Wocekiye Woglakapi. Woglakapi. Chanupa yochloge Woglakapi. Onasti otkaka Iashlowa Woglakapi. Wanbli is gone Pitasni. Woglakapi. Yashlopi na you say Ashle. Woglakapi. Oh, you kind of you ea. Oh, ka. Lele we talk on Woglakapi. Oyate unin opiktacha. Wonspel. Haska. We touch Ogda. So wonspel Woglakapi. Eyapi. Na lewa peakia pictro hokatakia. Oi na Ikiciyuskinpi lecheton.
wana Elohina si Trakoja Eyapi ki Wanbli chakikte. Na Trakoja Wichoch kere no Wanbli chakikte. Ina ha Trakoja le tekte Wichoch ba. O he otro Trokasra Hoyekiyapi. Trokayotapi Apetuakapi. Trape Gugruha. Trokasra Katuyeto Pakilani ha Hoyekiyapi. Apetukivel. O ite wani wa Oskanskaya kikile chuha. Na Katuyon kitala osnike. O kani bitake ki amai chalaki. Yupia amai chambarakina. Chade. Washt. Bitros kala bitros ama mitchako za Woglakapi. Eite. O ite ihakikisa Woglakapi. O onspe na Eyapi Oyakapu. Trokasla. O chihitku na woni wakanki. Na petu eleksi. Na tiele na aisapiniapi. O awako. Na upo. O ito kitu pikte peju taktalo. Itake. Oyase. O echetwalo. O ektayo.
Leonard Wopilalo, Pilayaplo. We'll head for our homelands or wherever, but I want to also thank our cooks, TJ Marshall and Sam Yellowcloud, for an excellent meal. And again, I want to thank Felix Hawk for his preparation of our sunrise altar. And I want to thank Jana and her maintenance people for preparing the place and getting it ready, and they'll get a tremendous workout this weekend, always moving tables and chairs and setting up the stage and what have you. So, but it takes a lot of coordination and a lot of planning for these Founders Day celebration. But I want to thank all of our staff, Dr. John Crawford for his recordings, and you just heard Dan and Shawl and many others today. So, thank you. Have a nice evening. I want to also thank Roger Allard and Pauline Jackson over here for their videoing, filming, getting us on YouTube. And I want to shout out to old Jim Cortez out there in California. I know he's listening also. So, wish you were here, Jim. Take care now. See you.